Wondering how to set goals in your business? Do you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at a wall and you're just a victim of what happens in your business? In this video, we're going to explore how to effectively and successfully set goals so that you feel inspired and motivated by what you achieve in your business. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, and I love this topic, right? As an entrepreneur, there are so many moving pieces to achieving my business goals. And first and foremost, when I think about how to set goals in my business, it begins with introspection. Really, when I talk about introspection, first it starts with my vision, right? So I like to document, journal, have white space and quiet time to think about what is the end game. Right? What is it that I'm hoping to achieve with my business? What is the vision that compels me as a business leader? And it's important for me to be able to properly articulate that effectively to my team. So for instance, I have a director of operations in the Big Money Movement, Kelly Watson, and Kelly and I are thought partners in the vision of the business. So oftentimes I am taking time for introspection to think about what is the mission for this business and what's the vision? And energetically, how does that feel? What's my emotional connection to that vision? And then I'll share that with Kelly and we'll talk about it. How does that feel? You know, where do we want to call audibles? How do we want to tweak that? So again, we can cast that vision to make sure that we're getting the buy-in of our team, right? So first and foremost, I want you to think about what is the vision for your business. Now, once we've cast this vision, right, and we're feeling all warm and fuzzy about where we're trying to take the business, another component is for us to think about our desired lifestyle, right? So we have this vision for the business, but how do we want the journey to feel? One of my favorite quotes is a quote from Danielle Laporte, and she says, "The journey has to feel how you want the destination to feel." So even before I get to goal setting, I want to think about how I want to feel. How do I want this journey to feel? I'll give you a perfect example. I've had massive opportunities in my business, and there have been several times where Kelly and I have talked about our ability to capture those opportunities. But because we are really keen on our desired lifestyle, there are many opportunities that we've said no to, or there are many goals that we've said no to because we've known, one, we value family, and maybe those opportunities or goals would have been conflict or prohibitive of our time. There have been opportunities that maybe haven't been in alignment with the vision and the mission of the organization. So we want to think about what is our desired lifestyle, what do we care about, what do we believe about, and how can we black out, if you will, those dates or those times to be effective. I'll give you an example. So let's say it's a brand new year, it's January of a brand new year, and I am just goal setting for that year, a little late, but let's just say in January, I'm goal setting for the year. And let's say we have this vision that compels us. What we would do is look at how can we make sure we still prioritize our lives? Maybe we want to have time off in the summer so that we can be active with our family. Maybe holidays are important to us, right? So we would make sure that we black out those dates so that we protect those things that we say are important to us, all right? Then once we have this vision, we've made sure we've been considerate of our desired lifestyle and prioritized our mental health, our wellness. Then from there, we want to look at what are the big rocks, okay? So how do we achieve this vision? What are the big rocks? So maybe I'm looking at, goodness, for us to be able to move the needle to achieve this vision, maybe there's a revenue marker that needs to be hit, or maybe it's growth of the team, or maybe there's a process that needs to be done. So it's discerning what are the big rocks that we are looking to achieve. By achieving those, by hitting those big rocks, those will be the catalyst for the rest to fall in place. So I'm thinking about what are my big goals? And you might want to think of it as categories or themes. We often look at, is this a sales goal? Is this a marketing goal? Is this an operations goal? Is this a finance goal? What are those things that are most important to us, right? So identifying and articulating those big rocks. And once we are looking at that, I really like the idea of SMART goals. A SMART goal is a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So let's break those down. Very specific. So if we identify, goodness, For us to achieve this vision, that vision really means that we want to impact 5 organizations this year. And if we know our average deal size is $50,000, then maybe our revenue goal is $250,000. That is a specific goal. And it's measurable because we put a number to it. We will know when we've achieved $250,000. Is it attainable or achievable? Yes, that could be a little bit relative. Yes, we think it is. Is it realistic? Is it timely? Well, not yet. It's not timely yet. So we can make it timely by saying, look, we want to achieve $250,000 in revenue by the end of second quarter, right? So now we have set a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goal, a SMART goal. Now we have a big rock. At this point, though, this is what we would call a leading indicator, meaning that we've cast this big goal, but it doesn't necessarily help us in the achievement of that goal. Now, when we have set that goal, that's really a lagging indicator. When we say $250,000 in revenue, that's a lagging indicator. That's something that inspires us, but it doesn't necessarily give us the tools to achieve it. And that's what we need leading indicators for, right? Or KPIs, key performance indicators. So then the question becomes, what actions or efforts can we focus on that by focusing on them, we'll wake up one day and realize we've hit $250,000 in revenue. So let's say for this goal, we say, hey, we know in order to reach $250,000, we said that these are 5 organizations that we're impacting. So what we need to do is make sure that each month we're reaching out and building relationships with 20 organizations, and maybe when we reach out to those, we know that so many of those are going to turn into discovery calls. So many of those discovery calls are going to turn into proposals, and then so many of those proposals are going to close into deals won. Those are the leading indicators, the activities that we want to focus on. So now, in addition to this $250,000 revenue goal, now we have KPIs that we're going to focus on day in and day out. Those are the things that when we're having conversations as a team, or when I'm holding myself accountable as a leader, I can focus on those efforts, because me focusing on $250,000 isn't inherently going to help me get there, right? So once you have the goal, the big rock, then you want to identify what are the leading indicators, the KPIs that are going to help you achieve it. Now, once we've done that, we want to create mile markers for ourselves, right? Checkpoints where we can look up and say, how are we doing on that goal? So I might have had this $250,000 goal for 6 months. How do I right size that so that every couple weeks I can look at something and know, oh, I'm on track, right? So create milestones for yourself. I literally do this in my calendar. So if I'm doing strategic planning and I set these goals, I go to my calendar and I'm like, okay, well, every week I should have 5 conversations and 3 discovery calls and 2 proposals. And every quarter I should have so many conversations or proposals. So it's helping me have these mile markers. So at any point I can assess or audit if I'm on track to achieve my goal. Another key part of goal setting is if I have these milestones and these KPIs, I need to reward my behaviors. There's something about the brain, like when we can celebrate where we are, it just encourages us to keep going. So now that I have these mile markers, how am I going to celebrate these milestones? Maybe every month, if I hit my KPIs, I'm going to take a couple days off or have a long weekend, or treat myself to a spa or massage. That might seem trivial when you're setting goals, but as adults, I just don't think we celebrate the journey enough, right? Going back to that quote, the journey has to feel how you want the destination to feel. I can't tell you how many times I set these large goals for myself and I achieved them and I look back and I'm like, I don't know if this was worth it. Like, this felt so empty. And that's because I have sacrificed so much on the journey that checking the box doesn't feel good. So it's important that as you set goals, you're cognizant of, how do I want to feel along the way? And how do I reward the action that I'm taking, the uncomfortable growth that's happening along the way, okay? In addition to setting these performance awards for yourself, I do think it's important for you to document the journey, right? I think resilience is really important for us. We set a plan. Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face. And it's easy for us to set plans and goals for ourselves, but the truth of the matter is life oftentimes has its own plans. So I encourage you to document the journey. I'm a huge advocate for journaling. Whether that's every day, every week, or whatever that consistency or cadence looks like for you, it's important to sit down and think about how you're feeling emotionally. What's showing up for you? Because inevitably, I promise you, there are going to be days where you just feel like all is lost, or you're going to feel like you're completely off track. And if you have the space to allow your emotions, I love when people say emotion. The word says motion. Emotions should move through you. As leaders, I don't know if we're kind enough to ourselves and if we show ourselves enough compassion about the journey of goal setting and the rigidness of focusing and trying to achieve a goal. And I think a journal is that space where if you don't talk to anybody else about it, you in your private time can be honest about your emotions, and you can allow those emotions to move through you. And it's something, I know for me, my journal is so encouraging because there's some days that I feel like all is lost. Oh my gosh, how am I going to maintain momentum to achieve my goals? And then a week later, I'll have one of the biggest wins, and I can look and track and see just a week ago I thought all was lost, and now I'm achieving exceedingly abundantly beyond what I could ever ask or think. That is kind of, when we talk about life, the roller coaster of life, it's crazy just how things can change with the blink of an eye. So when we talk about goal setting again, cast a vision. Make sure you put yourself first. What's the desired lifestyle for yourself? What are the big rocks that you need to achieve? And then how do you set KPIs, those leading indicators for those goals? Make sure you set milestones so that you can reward yourself for the uncomfortable action that you're taking and document the journey. I would love to hear from you. What are your best practices for setting goals? Speaking of goals, we work with women entrepreneurs where their goal is to land corporate clients. If you want to know how to get corporate clients for your business, just click this next video. I'll see you there. Bye.